Good morning. Welcome to Ask the Admin by Ide Bailey. This morning we are starting a little bit more with a new format that we've been pushing towards. We're going to start just by opening up for questions from anybody. Any question, any topic, nothing's off limits. If we don't have answers, then we will note it down and answer it on our next session. But we've got a developer here, Fred Barron, as well as myself as a technical architect. We're happy to help out, answer any questions you have. And when we're through with questions, we will be doing some demo on a couple of less used features of Salesforce, just to kind of give you some ideas of things to go look at and places to start playing with and learning new stuff about what Salesforce offers out of the box. So with that, let's go ahead and open up and see what questions we've got to go through today. Any questions at all? Okay. Question that we've got coming in, somebody asking about how to turn on the Lightning experience and use that in your org. So let me show you how to do this. This is a good thing maybe to try out in a sandbox and let people take a look at it and play with it. But the really cool thing is that once you turn Lightning on, your users have the option to switch back and forth between Lightning and Classic as they need to. So let me show you this. We're going to go under Setup. And right here at the top of Setup, there's a Lightning Experience option here. This is going to take you through a few different options to look at. There's some videos to watch about the Lightning Experience and what it does. Keep in mind there are going to be some changes within the next week with the Winter 17 release to Lightning. Really awesome changes. They're pulling the tab bar back up to the top and giving a little more functionality around that, as well as some other things that are going to be really cool. But as you go through this page, just kind of look through different options. There's some preview options and trials, setting up your domains, and then there's options to turn on some different things. Account Insights, which is pulling information about your accounts from some third parties. There's your social accounts for things like Facebook and Twitter, and some different things that way. Deciding who can use Lightning. Another really cool thing with this is you can turn on Lightning for specific people just by setting up permission sets or profiles. So you don't have to give it to everybody all at once in the org. You can turn it on, and then there's a profile permission or a permission set permission, and then you can determine which users actually get access to the Lightning experience. You don't have to give it to everybody. You can control who it goes out to. And then ultimately at the bottom here, enabling the Lightning experience to get it turned on. Once it's turned on and your users have the option for it, then up here at the top under your name, you'll see an option that says switch to Lightning experience. And you'll just click on that, and it'll take just a second to go through and reload. And there you go. That puts you into the Lightning experience with your navigation bar and some different buttons at the top. If you go to your icon up here, you'll have this link to switch to Classic again. So you can see you can switch back and forth. Users can have this option to switch back and forth all they'd like. You can test it out, try it. Sandbox is a great place to play with it, make sure everything that you have in your org works. And it's a fluid workflow for you. There's some really cool things about Lightning that are really helpful. One of those is in lookups. So if we're looking at, let's say, an opportunity, or we can even look at this from an account, one of the common things is to be able to just come here and create your opportunity on the fly and start adding things in. And something like account we'll take a look at. We'll say we need to link an account here, but it's not in your system, so you need to create a new account on the fly. With Classic, this dialog of creating a new account from a lookup is very simple. It's basically just name, phone, and address. But you'll see in Lightning, you've actually got other information here that you can fill in, as well as you can link your parent accounts here, which is really cool that you can't do that with Classic. This is Lightning only, where you can actually link other records. Some of the lookups actually show up in this dialog. That's really nice for contacts. If you've got contacts linked to opportunities or some other object in your system, when you go to create a new contact through the lookup, you actually have the option to link that contact to their account now that we didn't have before. So that can be really helpful. I'm going to pop back over to Classic for a little bit. I'm just going to kind of go through, there's a bunch of features inside of Salesforce that come standard out of the box that a lot of people don't even realize exist. So I just want to kind of talk about some of those and spark some ideas and things that you can think about as you're working through your own organization, and things that you maybe you're trying to do, things that maybe you've built that you can flip back and use some standard functionality. Standard functionality is awesome and great when you can use it. There's a ton of objects that come with Salesforce. It's really good practice. Go in to a sandbox or a dev org, take a look at these objects and see what there is to be offered. There's things like Ideas is a really great one. Ideas, if you're familiar with Salesforce's Idea Exchange, that's what this is. It's the Idea Exchange for your organization. It's a great way to turn on a simple feature where now your users can provide enhancements to your system, ideas to you, and you can control it and monitor it and step through and watch the progress of what's going on. So it can really help you with change management of managing your Salesforce org, getting that feedback from your users to what they want to use and what they want the system to do for them. And it shows up just like a tab of anything else. So if we go in here, we'll find the Ideas tab, and we'll just hit Post an Idea, and then very simple. Got a title, a description. You can create categories. You can customize this. You can add other fields to it. Whatever you want to do to make this work best for you. You can have the ability to add attachments even to the ideas. So if somebody's got an idea but they need to share an image with it, then that's great. They can put that here. And this can be used for so many different things. You can use it from things like enhancing your Salesforce or to just enhancing your Office. Something simple like, hey, we want lunch on Fridays. And then you can just post that there. You'll see this says no ideas found here, but what will happen is as you get more ideas in your system, it will search the system, and if there's similar ideas based on the title, it'll list those there, and so maybe as people are adding ideas, they'll be able to see, oh, somebody's already logged that, and they can go grab that idea and vote for it themselves. The same voting option works here just like it does in the Salesforce Idea Exchange, where you can go look at existing ideas and promote it and vote up ideas, and you can use that and set a threshold of, we don't actually consider anything until it hits 50 votes or 50 points, and then we'll start looking at it and considering implementing that for the company. Just some different things that way. Another built-in feature that can be really powerful for sales organizations is quotes. Quotes is actually a standard thing within Salesforce. It is actually turned off by default. Oftentimes you'll have to come in here and click Enable Quotes to turn it on. But once it's on, then you've got this quote object. There's a bunch of stuff pre-built to it. You can customize it just like anything else. It's got line items that links to products in the system. Let me kind of show you what's really powerful about quotes. Quotes are really cool. you've got an opportunity and you've got it worked out here. Now you need to build a quote to send to a customer. So you can come up here to quotes and hit new quote, and it'll ask for a quote name. So we'll say this is our September quote. You can put an expiration date on your quote. This is going to expire on the 30th, so it's only good for so long. You've got statuses to work through. You've got all sorts of different information you can put in here. Now, as soon as I save this, it's going to pull in all of my line items off the opportunity onto the quote for me. And now I can hit this Create PDF button, and you can modify this a little bit as well. But they do have a default template in here for actually creating the quote itself. You see it's even got the expiration date on it for you there. So now you can take this, you can save this PDF to your quote, you can save and email it right out to your client, and now you've got this pre-built quoting functionality right into your system. So you can work on the quote. Once you've sent it out to the client, if they don't like it too much, then you can just go back to your opportunity. You can either make changes to the opportunity and create a new quote, or you can run another quote. And maybe this one's going to expire at the end of October. And on this one, we're actually going to add another line item. We're going to pull another set of boxes over, and they're looking at another set of boxes to be added to their quote. So now we've got that there. Now we've got another quote. Now I've got two quotes, and I've made a change to a quote that's not on the opportunity. So what I can do is, customer signed off on this quote. This is the quote we want to use. So I'm going to hit Start Sync. And this is going to sync this quote with the opportunity. So now any changes I've made here are going to automatically push up to the opportunity for me. So I go to my opportunity, I can see there's my new line item right there. I can see in my quotes, here's the quote that's synced over, so that's the one that was signed off on. And now I can continue on with my opportunity. So a lot of really great functionality pre-built into the system there. Let me show you one more newer feature that we have. This is global pick lists. This is a little bit newer feature that's being pushed out, but this can be really cool. If you've ever worked with the industry field that goes across leads, accounts, and opportunities, it's a global pick list that Salesforce has had for a long time. You update the industry pick list on one, and it updates the rest of them. So what they did is they made this globally available now. So with global pick lists, you can create a pick list here. We'll make this a colors pick list. And we'll add in our values. You can set your order, you can set your chart color, you set everything you need to there. Now, when I go into any particular object, say I go to my opportunity products, and I want to add a new field here. I want to add a pick list, and I'll say next. I want to add a color pick list. Now, I've got an option here that says use global pick list definition. I can come here and say colors, and I'm done. And now that pick list is going to show up on my opportunity using the values from the global set. Now I just created one pick list on one object, but now I can go into my order fulfillment object and add that same pick list. Because it's going to be the same thing. Now I've got that same pick list listed in two different places. Well, let's say something comes up and we're adding some new colors to to our options. So now I can just come in here and I can add a couple of colors to my global pick list, and all of a sudden all of my objects that reference that pick list have those new options, and I only made one change to add that there. There we go. So global pick lists can be really cool if you've got a set of pick lists that you're going to reuse across multiple places. That's a great way to do it. Then you're not managing all those different pick lists. You're just going to do it in one place. So again, I highly recommend go through the Salesforce setup screen, go through the objects, go through the options there that you have. You'll notice in your sandbox and dev org, you'll have things show up like this that might say beta or it might say new next to it. These are new things that are being pushed out that you may have missed in the release notes, and this is a great way to catch those and see what's coming and what's available in Salesforce. Just standard out-of-the-box stuff. There's a lot of really cool functionality that they give us here.
John, we've got a question here from Arlo.
Sure.
He asked if we can show him how to turn on the email to case.
Oh, absolutely. That's a really good one. Email to case, it's a very powerful tool. So I'm in setup here. I'm just going to go to quick find. I'm just going to type in email and scroll down here under cases. You'll see email to case. So now there's a few sets of things to turn on here. We've got a few things turned on. So let me describe some of this to you so that you kind of understand what you're looking at here. Email to case has a couple of different options for how it works, and how you use it depends on exactly what your needs are. First off, enable email to case and turn it on. And then you've got a couple of options here. Notify case owners of new emails. That's for anything that comes into an existing case. You want your owners to know that something was added to an existing case. So we're going to turn that on. And I'll show you what this HTML email option is here in just a minute as well. But I would highly recommend have that one turned on as well. And then you've got the email thread ID, which is critical to the email to case system working properly. Remember, with email to case, it's got two parts. The emails coming in to create new cases and emails coming in on existing cases. This thread ID is key to emails coming in on existing cases. So it kind of closes the loop for you. So you get a case, you send an email to your client with some information. They reply to that email, and instead of going to some inbox, it comes right back to Salesforce and goes right on to the case that you're working on. And then with this notify case owners turned on, your case owner will get notified, hey, you've got a new email on your case to take a look at, and they can go take a look at that. On demand. So this is where you really have to stop and think for a second about your setup and what you need. So there's two options. There's email to case agent, and there's on demand email to case. So let me kind of explain the difference here. Email to case agent is a program that you actually download and install onto your email server in your network. And you set that up against your mail server. And what that does is it routes the emails on your mail server to Salesforce directly. So it does require a little more setup and a little more work with your IT team to get that set up. But the advantage is that with the email to case agent, you can accept emails of any size, which can be really good if you're dealing with lots of large attachments or big emails. The on-demand service, emails have to be 25 megabytes or less in order to be accepted. Anything over that, and they won't make it through. Now that's one of the big things. With on-demand, there's no setup. With on-demand, you turn it on, and then you get this service address here at the bottom. And what you do is you go in and you just forward all of your emails to this address. and then those will come into Salesforce through that address. So that requires very little work with IT, if any at all, to set up the on-demand service. It does have that 25 megabyte limit though, so if you're dealing with large emails, you may want to consider the agent instead of the on-demand service. For most companies, on-demand is perfect and it takes care of everything that they need. Failure response options, so over email rate limit action. Basically what that is there is a limit to how many emails can come through the on-demand service in a day. And if you reach that limit, then everything else is either going to bounce, or you have the option to just have it be discarded or requeue the message to come in later. The unauthorized sender action is either bounce or discard. Basically, you can specify emails are only allowed to come in from these domains and everybody else just gets bounced out, or it just gets discarded depending on how you set it. So that's the basic setup of turning it on. Then you need to create a routing address. Basically, the routing address is just this huge email address that you're going to send your email to. It does have to link to an existing email address. So let me walk you through setting one of these up. So I'm going to go to New. I'm going to give it a name. We can simply call it support email. And then it wants to know the email address. So in this case, it may be the email address of your support. So you may have a generic support email address, something like salesforce.support@bailey.com is ours. And then you've got a couple of options here. Save email headers, you can turn that off or on. That's just literally the email header itself. You can leave it off to save yourself that extra storage space if you'd like. And accept email from, if you leave this blank, it'll accept email from anything. If you put anything in here, then it will only accept emails from the domains that you list here. So you want to be careful with that. But it can be something you want to consider, depending on what you're doing. If you want, you can have it create a task from the email, and then what task status do you want it to be, or you don't have to do that. You can just leave that off and leave this blank. And then you've got your case settings. You can set the case priority and a case origin. I highly recommend create an origin that matches your routing address, and that will just help with your routing and case assignment rules, workflow rules, anything like that. It helps with tracking, helps with reporting, it helps with automation to have an origin that matches your routing. So I'm going to save this. And now you'll notice it's done a couple of things. It's created this huge email address. That's our forwarding address. And it says, configure your email system to forward message received at salesforce.support@bailey.com to this address. You'll notice right here, it's italicized my address with a verify link there. If I pop over here and I go look at that email inbox, it sent me an email it wants me to use to verify that the email is correct and that it's actually coming through. So I can click on this link. I went to the wrong window, sorry. I'm going to copy this link so I can do it in the right place. Generally, you'll just be able to click on that link and it's going to verify your address. And now, if I refresh my routing address page, you'll see it says verified. So now it's ready to accept email from that address. So at this point, I'm pretty much set up. So let me show you how this works. So I'm going to send a new address, or a new email, sorry. I'm going to come over here and copy this address. Just for demo purposes, you would generally set your system to auto forward to this. But in this case, just for demo purposes, I'm just going to do it this way and show it to you. So we'll send that on over. And we'll go to our Cases tab, which I don't have up here, so let me pull this up. And now what we could do with our cases is we can create a new view and say, this is my email to case queue. And I'm simply going to say that my case origin equals email. You could also set up a queue that that's going to. We haven't done that yet, so I'm not going to mark that. So I'm going to save that. And there's my emails. It doesn't seem to have come through. Sometimes it can take a minute for it to actually get through all of the routing and everything and get into your system. There it is. So now you see we've got a new case here. It's come in. There's the email that I sent in. You'll notice it did not link a contact and an account on this particular one. That would mean that the email address I sent it from does not match anybody in this particular system. But it does list it down here at the bottom for me and under the web email and web name. Sometimes it'll also fill in web company and phone if that information is available. But then I can use that to very easily create a contact. So I can copy this. I can come up here to contact, use my lookup. I can do a quick search for that. It's not there. So then I just need to go create one. Now, let me show you. I'm going to go ahead and hit send an email here. And I'm just going to send this right back. I want to make sure I send it from support so that the reply comes right back as it's supposed to. So there's my email. Come in, and you'll see it added this reference tag to my subject and to the body of my email. That's that reference tag I was talking about that's key to making this work. So now watch what happens when I reply back and send this back in. So I'm going to send this back in. Let me go grab that address again. And this is where having your routing set up properly really comes in handy. So now as I send that back over, it's going to come in, it's going to say, oh, I've got a reference tag here, and that links to an existing case. And so now if I come look at the case, there's that reply right back onto the case instead of creating a new case. So that really makes that email to case system a full circle system for you. Now there's other things you'll want to look at for your support team. you want to have them go to their settings, and under email and email settings, this spot right here, what email address would you like to use as a return address? I would highly recommend that everybody on your support team or anyone that is using this change this address to your standard support email. What that does is that helps so that when they hit reply, it defaults to your support email address, so that everything they send out comes in through that email to case system instead of coming in through your personal inbox, and you have to forward it from there. So that's the basics of setting up email to case. Great question. Thank you very much. Any other questions for today?
John, it doesn't look like we've got any other questions today.
All right. Thank you very much for your participation and your questions today. Again, we'll be doing this every 2 weeks. Open forum, bring any questions you have. We'll do demos. We'll show you and walk you through how to set things up. And we look forward to talking with you again next time. Have a wonderful weekend, everybody.